Group hug. Group hug.
Never had a friend like
Walt Disney Pictures, Aladdin.
you. Ain't never had a friend like me.
What is up, YouTube? I am Nintendo Man 64, and I am bringing you another playthrough of another game. Actually, I'm not doing that this time. I'm doing something a little different. Not that I'm going back and doing a game, I've always done that. But this time around, I'm doing something a touch different. You might recall, at some point last year, I believe in June, I did an anniversary special for The Lion King. Guess what? 25 years ago to this day, Aladdin was first released in theaters. And considering this film has had an enormous impact on me, both as a person and as a film goer, I figured it'd be fair for me to give Aladdin its time in the sun, the same way I gave The Lion King its time in the sun. I used the Sega version of Lion King, and I'm using the Sega version of Aladdin. This is also a bit of a touch-up job on the original Let's Play I did because, as you would recall, I was having recorder issues at that point, and I had a hard time getting things done for the channel, and as you'll know, Aladdin was done with post-op commentating, unfortunately for me. But the good news is I've got that shit all fixed out, and it's time for us to move on and finish this up and give Aladdin its proper same lineage thing that I gave to Lion King. Now the difference is Lion King was split into parts. This is just going to be a straight-on playthrough from start to finish of Aladdin, basically. And while I give you guys backstory behind the film, my personal opinions, and basically where it stands now in the cultural market of Disney films. So, let's start at the beginning. It is not really known if there were plans by Walt Disney himself to make a film based off of Aladdin. I think Walt knew better than to ruffle feathers. I mean, it wasn't like issues were today that there were in the Middle East, like when it comes to all the terrorism attacks and all that. It wasn't nearly as bad as it is now, but the Middle East back then was looked like not frowned upon exactly, but sort of like viewed as like a third world. I mean, think about it. A lot of it was still under the control of colonial Europe, and the stories of Aladdin were basically only known because of the European translations of them. So unfortunately, there's no real trace to see if Walt himself had been working on Aladdin. So I can't say the same as I would say for sorry, Beauty and the Beast or The Little Mermaid as I would with Aladdin, because it didn't really have a lot of a backstory at the Disney studios. In fact, prior to the 1980s, it was not really talked about at all, the potential of doing an Aladdin film. While Aladdin, like all animated films, is a collaborative effort, you would know, obviously, that more than just a handful of people had efforts into it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you can't really attribute the success of Aladdin to just everybody. There is one person you have to talk about in particular when you're talking about Aladdin, and that's Howard Ashman. Howard Ashman was the one who wanted to work on Aladdin more than any other person. In fact, it was his project to go to, his preferred project to go to, once Little Mermaid was finished, as during the late 80s, Beauty and the Beast was not going to be a musical. Yeah, go figure that one out. But they let Howard and Alan, who were basically going to win Oscars for Little Mermaid, both the song Under the Sea and the score. So they let them go and basically run Aladdin and show it and give themselves a little test run, see just how capable they were at running their own film, per se. And while the other animators finished on The Little Mermaid, some went to Rescuers Down Under, and some went to Beauty and the Beast. The directors of Little Mermaid, John Musker and Ron Clements, as you guys would know, they've also directed Moana, The Great Mouse Detective, Hercules, Treasure Planet, and The Princess and the Frog. They went on board after hearing some of Alan and Howard's work on the story. Now, I must say, as Jafar wrecks my plans, the final story of Aladdin, the one that we know and love, was not the original plan for the film. In fact, very little of the final product of Aladdin is the product of Howard and Alan's earlier work. Back in the original script days for Aladdin, Aladdin was younger. He had a mother. He was a child. Basically, he was just a kid. A more of a Marty McFly type than a Marty McFly type, as I've said, than say like a Tom Cruise or a. Oh, I had that guard. Oh well. Oh well. But he was more of a Marty McFly type of guy than a the Tom Cruise, Val Kilmer type stereotype that he ultimately became once the film went into serious production. Not only that, but fan favorites Abu and Iago were either very different or, in the case of Abu, non-existent. Abu actually was replaced with 3 human friends for Aladdin, which were, if I'm not mistaken, their names were Babkak, Omar, and Kasim. And Alan and Howard even wrote a song about them. That they were just sort of a little crew that ran across Agrabah, having fun, and all that jazz. They actually, Babkak, Omar, and Kasim, replaced Abu in the Broadway version of Aladdin, because Abu would have been a lot harder to do on Broadway than just 3 extra human characters. And speaking from a personal perspective, recalling how they had replaced flying monkeys with 2 horribly unfunny witches to help the Wicked Witch of the West and Wizard of Oz for my school play version of it. Yeah. It actually sort of worked. Because these are actually professionals, not some horrible 5th grade snob, you know? But we're getting off topic. The score was very much more aligned with jazz than it was the final score, which was a mixture of jazz and Broadway. A lot of the songs that we know today were not in the film at this point. This included One Jump Ahead and A Whole New World. Ironically, A Whole New World was going to go win an Oscar, and it wasn't really floating. But naturally, one could assume the issues were extremely complicated at this point, because Howard Ashman had... I'm not sure if he'd come out with the fact that he had AIDS at this point, but all I know was that it was a lot more complicated than it needed to be. Aladdin was ultimately put on hold for Howard and Alan to work on when Beauty and the Beast started collapsing when it was being worked on in London. So while Howard and Alan went to work on Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin was given to John Musker and Ron Clements, who, as we all know, did very well with The Little Mermaid, and are revered as some of the best animation directors who've ever lived. They tried to go with Howard and Alan's approach to the film, and it really didn't work from both a creative and a personal standpoint. As you guys would recall, the film was sort of a mixed bag. I mean, They, even right from the bat, right off the get-go, they were debating, because Howard had wanted, like, an African-American to play the genie, and not like an African-American comedian, just like an African-American jazz star. There weren't that many. Like, he was modeled after Cab Calloway and all sorts of other jazz artists from, like, the 20s and 30s. Unfortunately, things did not go well for that, because John and Ron, as we all know, had the idea of making the genie out to be Robin Williams. So they showed the project to Jeffrey Katzenberg in March of 1991. Unfortunately, at this point, Howard had passed away of the AIDS, you know, of AIDS-related illnesses, and he just lost gas, effectively. It's unfortunate, but hey, what you gonna do? They showed the film to Jeffrey Katzenberg, who was the head of the Disney Studios at that point. Now he's one of the big heads at DreamWorks. Unfortunately, Jeffrey didn't like it. In fact, Jeffrey Katzenberg said it was horrible. He hated it. Much to the dismay of John and Ron, who now realized they had to start their new project over from scratch. Now, this complicated matters a lot more than one would think, because John and Ron effectively had two dream projects. Few people know this, but in general, the two dream projects they wanted to work on were, the first was The Little Mermaid, that Ron Clements had gotten Katzenberg to buy off on. The second one was Treasure Planet, which they were trying to get made, but because they were the top animation directors in Hollywood, Jeffrey Katzenberg, Roy Disney, all of them needed them to work on the bigger films, and Aladdin was deemed a much bigger film than what Treasure Planet in Space, or Treasure Island in Space. Sorry, I botched the joke. Damn me. Damn it. Oh well. But yes, this was causing them complicated issues, and the ultimate issue was coming to be in that point in spring of 1991. Beauty and the Beast was starting to wind down on production, and within a couple of months, Disney was going to get the entire staff of that film to begin work on Aladdin. And with Jeffrey having rejected the majority of ideas for Aladdin, they were now in deep trouble. They now had to convince people to jump onto a project that had almost no life in it. Further complicating the issue, well, obviously, was Howard Ashman's death, and how the studio would be able to move on from Howard, who was such a key part of the studio's return to form. I mean, The Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast would never have been the films they were without Howard. And it's unfortunate that he passed away when he did. Imagine how much of an effort he would have been able to put into films like Pocahontas and Hercules that it was just sort of lacking in. But as we all know, life must go on. And whereas Jeffrey could talk about how he needed to move budgets and times and all that, the one thing none of them had power over was the calendar. And, well, let's be fair. It's unfair that you had to move you couldn't move the schedule for them, but at that point, Disney had a monopoly on the system. They had to keep moving in order to maintain it. You never knew when if Don Bluth or someone else would pop up and make the next big thing to challenge Disney. Now, luckily for them, that didn't happen, because Don Bluth's film Rockadoodle would tank at the box office, and the closest competitor to Aladdin in terms of the animation market ended up being Fern Gully, The Last Rainforest, and that barely made $30 million, if I'm not mistaken. So basically, it was a workabout to redo this film and start it from scratch. Now that work began a lot quicker than people thought because they hired 2 new writers to work on the film. John and Ron did, at least, not the studio. The studio basically almost had nothing to do with the hiring of the writers. John and Ron ultimately hired Ted Elliott and Terry Rossio, who are now of Pirates of the Caribbean fame, to rewrite the film and give us more of a Disney typical film in comparison to just the more rigidly structured and followed version that Howard and Alan had been making in the late 80s. Damn, I can't platform for shit today. Ted Elliott and Terry Rossio added and took away many of the elements that would ultimately make Aladdin the film that we all remember it as. The first thing they did was they nixed the infinite wishes that was in the original fairy tale and in Howard and Alan's original draft, where basically they just let you use as many wishes as you want, and it basically took away a lot of tension that could be used in the film for, say, an unlimited amount. So you could change anything you wanted. Like Aladdin and Jafar, who were the 2 that ultimately held the lamp in the film, they could effectively wish for whatever they want and not have to worry about consequences of their wishes unless the other were to mess with their plans. The second thing they did, the big one, was they got rid of Aladdin's mother as a character, which was really a tough thing to convince Alan to do, because Howard had written a beautiful song for his Aladdin's mother in the film called "Proud of Your Boy," which was finally reissued to the public in 2004 with the release of the Platinum Edition of Aladdin. But oh man, I'm losing health like mad. But it didn't fulfill any narrative point in the film, and as a result, the song was scrapped, as was Aladdin's mother. Babkak, Omar, and Kasim were ultimately replaced in favor of Abu, the monkey, that we've already seen in this video game. Oh, come on. It's almost perfectly synced up. That's evil. Around this time, which was basically June, July, August of 1991, they were in talks with Robin Williams about being the genie. Now, Williams was very skeptical. He's sort of like, I don't know. It would be fun, but I don't think I'm the right person for the job, and I think I'm just gonna pass. And in order to convince Robin to take the role, Disney animator Eric Goldberg, who was the supervising animator of the Genie, did a couple of test animations of one of Robin Williams' comedy albums, and did some test animation with the Genie. The fact that he got Robin Williams to laugh at the animation was what sold Williams on the project. Now, this would lead to some controversy in the latter half of the 1990s, but I'll get to that a little bit later, because that's not until much later, or at least around the time the film was released. Oh my god, I just fell that far. Unbelievable. But with Williams on board, with the majority of the cast being re-scripted and rewritten, including Iago, who was a very foppish British guy that would sort of keep an extremely aggressive and angry Jafar in in line, they sort of reversed the roles of them. So Jafar became the more manipulative schemer, and Iago became the loud, bombastic Gilbert Gottfried with feathers that we all know and love to this day. And while that was happening, Alan and the rest of the studio heads decided on bringing along Broadway veteran Tim Rice to help finish the songs for the film. So there were about approximately 11 or 12 songs written by Howard and Alan during that time, and only 3 made it into the final film, them being Arabian Nights, which we just heard while we were in the dungeon, Prince Ali, which we heard in the first level, and Friend Like Me, which is obviously the sort of the theme of the film, if you will. I know A Whole New World is the one that won the Oscars, but damn bat. Freaking hate bats. Everyone hates bats. Whether it be Zubat, Bats in Lion King. Oh my god. That fish with the fez. I'm not his fan either. Man, I should talk about the game at some point. But the story behind Aladdin is so much more complicated than this game is, because this game is just a brilliantly designed platformer. Alright. But getting back to where I was, Tim Rice was hired to write the rest of the songs. He would ultimately write One Jump Ahead and A Whole New World. And then obviously Tim Rice would go and continue work at the studio, where he would write more songs with Alan for the Beauty and the Beast Broadway musical, and then would ultimately collaborate with Elton John to write songs for... Okay, we hear you, it's okay. You don't have to be that loud. You're like molesting my eardrums. Alright, there we go. So with all of that done, they finally started to solidify the ideas of the story. Whereas the original fairy tale is about material worth and possession and all that, where I actually did I don't know what you'd call it. Like, I did a video, not a video, like a blog entry on, I did a blog entry on Aladdin back, I think in 2015. Damn, these friggin' bats. And I talked about that, where it was sort of like the film, everyone knows the film Wall Street that Oliver Stone did. Alright, so we're sold out. Let's get another one. Let's get another continue while we're at it. We're not gonna need it, but oh my god. Just in case we might need it. I did a blog entry on Aladdin where I talked about how the film's more like a Wall Street type film, where someone loses their... Well, I mean, the original fairy tale is more along the lines of that material wealth is what gets you everywhere. And Disney wanted to change that, and they made it more of a diamond in the rough story, where... Oh, damn, I missed. Oh, I missed! Oh, there we go. Oh, hey, carpet. Oh, nice. I got health. Thank you, carpet. Stupid fish! Stupid fish! That's my first death. I'll say that. Thank you. That was my first death. I'll greatly appreciate that being my first death then on, like, a first level or something. But everything was sort of coming to a head, and basically by the fall of 1991, the film was back on track in a big way. Now it came to be a matter of getting everything done in the film or completing everything in the film before the deadline, which was Thanksgiving 1992. The last two things I want to talk about in the backstory behind Aladdin are, the first thing I want to talk about was something that was brought up for the first time, at least to me, for the first time when I watched Waking Sleeping Beauty, the documentary which was about the resurgence of the Disney Renaissance. Oh, darn it. The return to Disney and the documentary behind it was, by this point, Disney had been working on basically a film a year. So, starting with Oliver and Company in 1988, Disney was doing a film a year. Prior to that, they had been doing films every 2 to 3 years, sometimes even every 4 or 5 years. And you could tell that the wear and tear that was affecting the animators was going to keep continuing if it was not addressed. And thankfully for them, it does get addressed, as ultimately after Aladdin, a lot of the films get pushed back to allow them animators more time to sort of just rest a bit, because a lot of them would talk about how they had issues with like carpal tunnel syndrome and emotional issues of good job. Emotional issues of not being able to see their families, working 60 to 70 hours a week for almost no benefit outside of personal praise and adulation. And it's unfortunate because you hear more about these films than you do about the people that are behind them. Like, would you know that Glenn Keane, who also did animation work on The Beast, Ariel, Pocahontas, Tarzan, Professor Ratigan, among other characters. Would you know a thing about him if I wasn't here, or if you weren't like an animation researcher? No, you'd be more interested in learning about the film itself instead of just some generic little fact about the guy that animated Aladdin. Would you know Eric Goldberg, who was the supervising animator of the Genie, also directed Pocahontas? Would you know that Andreas Deja, the animator who was behind Jafar, also animated Gaston, King Triton, Roger Rabbit, Scar, Hercules? No, only if you were really into that. It's unfortunate that these animators don't get the notoriety that... Speaking of Jafar, whatever. Jeez, alright, time to focus my eyes. This is gonna friggin' suck. This is gonna suck. This is gonna suck. This is gonna suck. 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 I can get away with that shit now, but once it starts getting faster, I'm shit out of luck. I don't often complete it. I generally, when I do this level, I win it out of a stroke of luck. Like, sometimes the game will just pity me and be like, alright. Alright, we think you've earned your lesson of wanting to play this asinine level. Yeah, people say the ostrich level is hard in Lion King. This has given me nightmares. Okay. A lot of this is all memory. Basically, from this point on, I have no idea. I would love to do this on the first shot like I did last time. Oh my god! I did it! Wow! Wow, you know you've played a game too many times when originally deathly challenging challenges are no longer challenging. Challenge, 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 challenge. Challenge, 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 challenge. Challenge. Whatever. Oh, speaking of challenge, welcome to the Hell World. Played by the theme that people who don't like Aladdin will hear once they enter the gates of hell. I love this theme, though. Well, Alibaba had them for the thieves. Scheherazade had 1,000 tails. Ah, this level gives me so many memories. Not fun ones, but they give me memories. The last thing I want to talk about is something I hinted at earlier about the Robin Williams controversy. Basically, what it means is Robin Williams got paid SAG scale, which back in 1992 was only $75,000, which is almost nothing compared to what actors make now in films. He was provided with, he took SAG scale, which was very minimal amount of money, to be the genie in Aladdin, provided a couple of stipulations, or as he would say, a couple of quid pro quos. The biggest one being, catch one of these friggin' balloons, thank you, that the genie would go largely uncredited, as would the genie. So the genie would be sort of like a little surprise to the animators, but the film would focus mostly on the adventure instead of the comedy. You can tell from just a few years of knowing about the film's existence that Disney did not appreciate that, or did not respect that wish. The genie was all over the marketing for the film, and since Disney went back on their word, Williams was not happy, and not that he made a solemn vow never to work for them again, but he was deeply unhappy with the Disney studios for many, many years. And it would basically take a full-on apology from the studio after Jeffrey Katzenberg left in 1994 following The Lion King's release. Ah, shit! The Hands of Doom! They always kill me. The Hands of Doom! God damn it, these hands! Amazing. Absolutely amazing. And now this would ultimately cause a minor issue for the studio, because they had basically greenlit the return of Jafar to be the next big Disney film, direct-to-video sequel, all that jazz. And Robin Williams was not going to be voicing the genie because they had broken the contract, yada yada yada. Oh, god damn it. So Dan Castellaneta, best known as the voice of Homer Simpson, would voice the genie for the majority of everything following the original film's release, until Disney made the full apology to Robin Williams. Nope. I saw that coming. Saw that coming from a mile away. Dan Castellaneta would ultimately voice the genie through the majority of things that the genie would appear in. This included work on... This would include work on This would include the animated series. This would include a lot of video games, chiefly Kingdom Hearts. Oh, almost had it. Damn it. Damn it. Oh well. Moving on to the next level, hopefully. I'd rather not die. I'd rather not. And Dan Castellaneta was basically going to become the voice of the genie de facto until the apology was made after Katzenberg retired. Nope. Until retired, left the studio in 1994. Alright, so that's where it shrinks. Boom. Come on, jump. There we go. Only minorly annoying has this whole ordeal been. Alright, next step. I am making a save state. This is... Booyah! Booyah! Got it! Ooh, that was close. I'd rather not die 1,000 times. I love Friend Like Me, but... I don't like you, Jafar. Just saying. No, I love Jafar. Who am I kidding? Jafar is awesome. Now, I must perform the Flamingo Symphony. Wow, how did I miss? I was so busy making the friggin' Flamingo Symphony that I just died. And I need as many apples as I can for that final fight with Jafar. Man. Alright, one factoid that I found out. Actually, I think I knew it by the point I did this Let's Play, but I feel I should bring it up again. Did you guys know that this game, Aladdin on the Sega Genesis, is the second highest selling Sega Genesis game of all time, behind Sonic the Hedgehog? I definitely didn't know that. Like, seriously, like, who would have thought that a video game based off of a movie would become that successful? I know I didn't. When you really think about it, who would think that? Considering how mediocre film video games have been over the years. And hell, even at the beginning with that, with the infamous E.T., the Atari E.T. game. Well, I'm here in the palace. Where's the Sultan? Oh well. So many guards and so many Yagos. Does Jafar just have like 1,000 of these in reserve in case Yago dies? I will say, Yago goes through a ton of BS in Aladdin. In fact, funny little quirk about the original film would be the fact that there was on the bulletin board in the animation studio in Glendale, there was a sign that said, "When in doubt, hit the bird," which was basically their approach to comedy. So I miss out on the genie, oh well. Who put a Boo in this cage? Slaughter them all, Abu! We shall perform the monkey master ace! I'll save the rest in case I burn lives in the Jafar level. Which is very likely. Ha! I made you drop your pants. I made you drop your trousers. Yago, stop summoning ghosts! Stop it, Yago! Stop it, Yago! Gilbert Gottfried! No! Bad Gilbert! Bad Gilbert. You should be ashamed! Shut up, Jafar! I get it. Distracted by Yago, Aladdin recovers to find the lamp is missing! Oh no! Now Jafar can turn the palace into a new shade of red. Excellent. Now that I have the lamp, nothing will prevent me from ruling all of Agrippa. It is time to have my final bout with the street rat, Aladdin. How that god did not get set on fire, I will never know. I did not ask the genie for inflammable guards, though perhaps I should have. Or flameproof guards. I don't know if inflammable's a word or not. Some have said yes, some have said no. I don't know. One thing I do know is that I have to start recording for the birthday bash. Not at the moment, unfortunately, because I'm doing something called recording a different game. Recording playthrough of Aladdin. Not particularly fun. No, it's been quite fun. Quite fun. Okay, I'm done. Now it's concentration. Oh! Okay. Go away. Go away. Ignore the guards, ignore the guards. The inflammable guards. Why did Jafar leave the Sultan's toys everywhere? It's not very nice. I will teach my children to appreciate other people's things and to put them away where they found them when at other people's houses. I know you think this is your house, Jafar, but it's not. And I will say it before anyone else says it. I know that when it comes to the most times I've fought, when it comes to bosses that I've fought the most on this channel, Jafar will win in a landslide. Because when you really think about it, I've played Chain of Memories, Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. I've played this. I've played the SNES version of this, which is not really this. It's Frogger the game with Aladdin in it. I know JonTron likes that one more than this one. It's one of the few times I'll have to say he's wrong. Let's get some more carpet! I want to get more lives. Good, at least I'll have my gems left over. Alright, so now I need that health. I need the health carpet. Thank you. Now I will ride the carpet. But yes, I played Chain of Memories, I played Coded, I played SNES Aladdin, I played Sega Aladdin, I played the original Kingdom Hearts, and I'm not gonna say anything specifically, but let's just say Jafar will be a boss in at least 2 more games I intend on Let's Playing for the channel. One is one of the Epic Mickey sequels, and obviously Kingdom Hearts 2. Because think about it, Jafar and Hades and Captain Hook were the only 3 Disney villains we did not kill in that game. Hades was beaten the old-fashioned way. Hook was chased off by the crocodile, and Jafar was trapped in the lamp. Ursula, she went kapuski. Maleficent went kaputski. Oh my god, why won't they die? Yago! Go away. No one wants you back, Yago. Oh man, yeah, I am gonna lose to Jafar. Big time. I'm gonna lose big time to Jafar. I don't have enough health. This is gonna be fun. Hey, Jaffe, how you doing, buddy? It's been a long time. Stop drawing me into you. I'm not into you that way, Jafar. Stop it! Stop it! Stop it, Jafar! Bad! Bad! Bad boys don't get treats, Jafar! It was the same with the cat, it'll be the same with you! Oh, there we go. Ah, god damn it. Oh well. I need a couple of apples. Alright, 15 will have to do. Alright, let's do this, Jaffe. Yes, you must have cloned Yago at some point. Or maybe Yago cloned himself. Who knows? Come on. Oh, stop trying to make me... Jafar, knock it off. Oh, great, I'm out of apples. Oh, there they are. Yay, thank you, Jafar, for magicking me up some apples. Stop conjuring fire everywhere, Jafar! Learn to play fair! I can't conjure fire everywhere! Oh, I almost had him! Oh. Jafar, you are a fiend. And I just wasted an apple. Good for you. Good for you. Man. What the hell was that? Like, I kept whacking on him and wailing on him, and it's like, no. No, stop it! Stop it! Stop being a bully! Stop being a bully! Oh my god, Jafar, stop being a bully! Oh, come on! Stop it! Oh, come on! Oh, come on. We can't just crap out against Jafar, come on! And I'm on a tight schedule here. If you didn't have fire, because I didn't think snakes were made of fire and crap, go away. Like, what the hell happened? Like, did Jafar just not want to teleport? I mean, not want to fight? I wonder if that's a glitch. Like, you could just get Jafar not to show up and you automatically win the game. Maybe that's easy mode. Stop it! You jerk. Oh, great. Stop being a jerk! I jumped a little too early there. This sucks. How many deaths can I get before I fight Jafar and beat Jafar? Oh, those apples are mocking me. Are there any other apples up here? No. Pop, 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 pop. Okay, come on, come on, come on. Okay, come on. Oh, they didn't even give me the extra apples. I think I got it this time. Of course, arrogance will get me nowhere. Neither will these flames! No, stop being a... Ugh. Oh, come on, I had him! I had him! You jerk! Haven't you ever heard of the rules RPGs do? They don't have you fight a ridiculous amount of enemies and don't steal your apples before major boss fights. You're evil. You're sick, twisted vision. And friggin' Yago. Friggin' Yago. Friggin' Yago. I guess I beat it because I didn't have to talk last time. All I did was just concentrate. And the more I open up my mouth, the more I cost myself. So maybe I should just concentrate. This isn't like an RPG where I can keep opening up my mouth. Nope. Nope. Stop being a bully. Such bull! You prevent me from jumping when I get hurt. But that friggin' snake's range is, like, ridiculous. Damn it. I can't believe I've burned through this many lives. I've never done that before. At least in the last few times I played this game. Like, wait, what is that? Like, I dodge it. Stop! That's like bullshit! Just saying, I don't remember that the snakes can breathe fire. Pretty sure it's dragons. Oh, come on! The stupid flames! Oh my god, I had that too. Friggin' Yagos. Running out of lives here. Stop it! Oh man, that was painful. We almost didn't stick the landing. That was not fun. But again, the sense is kind of rewarding once you beat friggin' Jafar. Oh man. You would think an obnoxious game like that would make me hate Aladdin, but no, I don't. I still love Aladdin more. I probably love Aladdin more than I did previously. I love the songs, I love the score, adore Robin Williams as the genie. Ah, man. And that made that Jafar fight unpleasant. It made me sweat through that one. That one was very, very challenging. I had planned on doing a Hercules version of this for the PlayStation version, but unfortunately that never transpired because I never could find the PlayStation version, which I could basically beat in about an hour. Unfortunately, we might not be seeing another one of these until I do Toy Story. It's unfortunate, but hey, what you gonna do? But I thank you guys for sitting here and enjoying my talking of one of my all-time favorite movies of all time, being Aladdin. And I will see you guys at some point with a Pokemon Platinum or a Mario 64 DS video, seeing as how the birthday bash is done at this point. It's Barry! Barry! Oh well. Anyway, thank you guys for joining me. I'm Nintendo Man 64, and I am signing out. I will see you guys at some point. Until then, sayonara. Troy Gustafson, Pam Darley, Sega of America, Kent Russell. That went a little too fast. Maybe next time you'll study the game a bit more. I don't know. Don't you start with me, Fusion. I will stick my foot up your rear end. Alright, we don't have to thank the caterers. Oh my god. We haven't even gotten to special thanks yet. Ron Clements. I was gonna say, no love for John Musker. Wow. But what did Amy Pell do? She just sat there and smiled. Gotta fly, gotta fly.